Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
Hey guys, this is your co-host Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average pun-making swearwolf that loves to explore the spookier things in life.
I'm your co-host John Thomas, paranormal investigator, super smartass, and film lover extraordinaire.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and all my meta pals out there? Today, the Geeks of Horror are back to talk about their favorite horror flicks and maybe share some paranormal experiences. We have a very special guest joining us today.
But first, a word from our network sponsor.
Are you looking for more awesome podcasts? Head on over to withoutyourhead.com for access to the Without Your Head podcast network, where you'll find a variety of podcasts sure to keep you entertained and coming back for more. Woo! I like the question. I don't know.
I'm not sure, maybe.
What did you do?
I just changed my chair because it squeaks and I hate it so bad. It's like I don't want to hear this.
I don't know. He moved his camera and stood up, and then I saw him adjusting around his waist. I'm like, is he about to flash us?
Like taking them.
Surprise, it's moon time.
Surprise!
You were talking about how nice I am and not LA, and then bam, baby.
You thought.
Look what I got.
Look at my ass.
So
welcome back, everybody. In today's episode, we have special emerging voiceover actor Alex Lemus. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about some things I think that have remained special in my life. Horror and paranormal became a thing that I sort of loved at a young age, actually, because of Ghost Adventures. That documentary really sparked an interest and a sort of curiosity, and I was scared when I saw it, because I don't think we like to address that side or like to acknowledge that side even exists. So it really scared me as a kid, and it convinced me, these things sort of happen because, I had family that was having experiences, and, my brother would say stuff that he saw things, and you don't really know until you see it yourself and experience it yourself. So thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to delve into that side of things. So
yeah,
Heck yeah,
you're able to join us. It's funny because I met your brother years ago. I think it was like 3 years ago, and I was in Salt Lake City as the Fan X. Is that what they call it now? And yeah, and then I had come into work at Stockton Con, and I remember I passed by you, and at first I thought it was Neri because I was walking so fast. So I paused to say hi, and then when I actually looked at you head on, I was like, wait, that's not Neri. That's first of all, Neri's not that tall. That's not a diss, but just Neri is not that tall. So it's like, wait, I don't think that's Neri, and the face looks different. And so you're definitely brothers. The resemblance is very clear. You're brothers, but once someone looks at you head on, it's clear, that you are your own person.
In high school, we went to the same high school, and Neri had already graduated, and I would get his teachers coming up to me still and saying hi, hi Neri, I was just like, he graduated. Why are you still saying hi to Neri? But I had it. I was like, that's enough. So when the guy actually came up to me instead, I'm like, oh, I'm actually, his younger brother. I would just take it. I would just be like, sure, call me Neri kind of thing. But I realized it's important to be no, I'm Alex. I'm not Neri. But yeah. So we get people think we're twins, and he's a year older. But I have to make sure of that now, that I'm my own person, but I love him to death. He's great. Don't know what I'd do without him. So
yeah, I think I waved it him and then actually went over to say hi once it kind of calmed down a little bit. And then I don't even know. I think it took a while before I actually even was like, "Hi, I'm Ashley" to you. And
Yeah.
because it was just such, that was, for being a small town, that was a really packed show.
Yeah.
And it stayed busy. So just finding that moment to be like, "Hello, my name is,"
Yeah.
and it was just a quick meeting. But I remember then Neri reached out and asked if I could work at Sec Enemy for his company. And I was like, sure, why not? And then you were there, and I'm like, Alex. And of course, most people that know me know that I'm pretty friendly. Once
Yeah.
I kind of know you or kind of know of you, it's like, hey, what's up? I'm gonna see you a lot, so I'm gonna just talk your ear off. And you're
Yeah.
so quiet and shy at first.
I am. I it's just, I guess it's the introvert in me, but if I start getting comfortable and, something like paranormal comes up, like I think with us, it was like backstage while the panel was going on and it just happened to come up. So like we told each other like the stories that our experiences and stuff. And I think, that really sparked like a connection right there, so
That's what he knew. He
it's
loved me. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding. I'm kidding.
exactly. That was it. That was the start of it all. So
That's right,
yeah.
because you were supposed to go get your talent. Because I escorted all three of them because I'm like, well, we're going to the same place. I'll just take them. But you came to
Mm,
get them to take them back to their table. And I remember just, I don't even know. I was talking to the other, like the volunteer about
mm,
the paranormal. And you're like, wait, paranormal what? He's
yeah.
talking about ghosts. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's one of us.
Well,
Yep.
the one thing that I am one of you, but I haven't actually like investigated a location. I haven't really gone out, to like places where, Ghost Adventures have been out to and they'll do like a location overnight. Like I've never really done that. And it's easy to say that you wouldn't be scared watching it on television. Like I always tell myself, oh, like it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But it's until you really like had your own experience that you're like, and like not to like tinker with it too much. So part of me is like really curious about going and like investigating and like being there at like this sort of locations. And part of me knows what it's like to be scared when you're experiencing that. So it's like exciting and like scary at the same time. It's like really weird feeling. So, hopefully one day get to get out there and do locations. There's quite a few that I've really been interested in just like visiting. I know in Sacramento, like they have uh I know Ghost Adventures went underground. They have like the underground
The
Sacramento
tunnels. Yeah.
tunnels, but even just like being on the land above it is like there's a lot of energy to it, and you could tell like there's a lot of history involved with that land. So it was cool just like walking and visiting it. And I don't know if I'd be able to go to the tunnels, but you never know.
He
I
said
wouldn't
my
be.
magic word. He's like energy of the energy. And I'm
Yep.
like,
Mm,
yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So I've had my own experiences. I live in Studio City, and I think there's like a lot of history associated with any sort of land or building that you find yourself in. And I know that a person here, I've lived here my whole life in Studio City in the same sort of building. I've lived here for most of my 27 years, and there's stuff that I've experienced here, and I would like to tell myself that I'm just sort of not hallucinating, but that's not really happening kind of thing. But when I sort of had somebody else there with me to experience it, it was like there's no way that we both imagined that, So I've experienced it with my brother. My sister has had experiences. So my mom has had experiences. We've all had experiences sort of in this apartment. So it's really weird because it doesn't happen all the time, but it'll happen here and there. And that's what, like the wonderment goes into like the other side of the afterlife. It's never just going to constantly happen. So like it raises so many questions, and that's how I became like so curious about like that side of things, because it's definitely there, and most people don't believe it until they experience something. So
Hey, yeah, it
If
kind of ebbs and flows.
I was gonna
yeah.
say, or even if they do experience something, Ashley, they still don't believe it.
37 years in, baby, and I won't accept it all the way. That's right.
Really?
Not all the way. I will over out logic. Like to the point where it's not just logical anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, because I do not want to believe to that extent. There's like a safety precaution I've got built in where I'm like, I believe just enough, and then I pull back because I'm like, nope, too scary. I'm a scaredy cat.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, and of course we want to have an explanation for everything, right? I mean, that's what our conquest in life is, right? We want it to have some sort of meaning and to know exactly like what it's about. But I think that there's there's more to it. There's more to it than I think we can explain. But it's out there. And I've dealt with that struggle too, like there's one time where my brother and I used to share a room, and one night he tried waking me up. He woke up in the middle of the night and he was just like, he just felt really weird. And he's like, I just feel like something's watching me. Like he couldn't explain it. And we had like these really old blinds, those white blinds, and he opened them up and he saw, because our apartment's on the first floor, there's an alley that leads out to our apartment, and there's a window, and he saw in the window there's this big green bug, and he just like looked at it and he's like, oh, that's super weird. And something told him to take photos. He's like, I just need to take photos of this. So on his flip phone, like, his razor or whatever it was that long ago, he took a couple photos and he put them on his computer later, the day after. But that night he just went to bed. He didn't think of anything. I don't even think he really looked at the photos. But it was the next day he looked at the photos on the computer on the big screen, and he found something like really odd. And because he had multiple photos, he saw that in one of the corners of the photos, what he had found wasn't there. And when he had showed me, I freaked out because I saw exactly what he didn't think of was watching him that night. But what's even worse though is that these photos were on my brother's old computer, and his old computer broke. So like we don't have like all the photos to show like this face isn't in the other photos. And when I saw it, it reminded me of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Dead Silence, but it reminds me of that doll from Dead Silence, and
Oh
it
my
freaked me
gosh.
out.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, that is so scary. And I've woken up in the middle of the night where I've tried to wake up my brother because I feel something like watching me or something. It's like really creepy, and for him to have like caught that and not been able to wake me up, I can't even imagine like what he was feeling. So yeah, really creepy. And other things have like happened like that. And there was a
Like
time
what,
where,
Alex? Tell us.
well, I'll tell you. And it's crazy because like you can be telling someone like, this is what I experienced by myself, like this, and try to like not try to convince them, but you know they weren't there, so they don't know like what that feeling really was like. But
Mhm.
my brother he used to like send, what really started it all for him was he used to send out autograph requests in the mail. So he would write to celebrities, he'd write them letters, and he would wait to get them back. And he started a YouTube channel that was actually like had quite a few followers, and he would make videos on his Mac and like edit and stuff, and he'd record a voiceover over it. And I remember, because we shared a room, I would always make fun of him for doing this, like recording, and like he would get upset. But one time, he felt like messing around, and we were both like recording and just like messing around and like talking and stuff. And at the end of the recording, when we listened back, we heard something that none of us said. And I remember, it's going to sound so stupid, but one of us were saying, he pulls his britches down and shits them. Like, what for? And just like messing around, right? But at the end of that, a different voice was saying, yep, yep, just like that. And I was like, dude, go back. And we played it again. And he and I just looked at each other like, what the fuck? And we recorded it, and we had a video of it, but it was on that computer that broke. So now we don't have it. And I'm just like, so upset about it. But it scared us.
I
But
like
it's
that it joined in with you.
Yeah, it was like messing around. Yeah, maybe it
Yep.
was like
Yep.
wanting to mess around with us. Yeah, it's so weird, you know. And what's I know of the sort of like very little history. I know like there's been a few people that have died in this building, but I think it's something to do with like the alley and maybe like the other building. I think s- I've had an experience in that alley that I don't like walk there at night. Usually there's like an exit that goes that way. And I remember one night you know, what I would do is someone would come pick me up and it's easier to go that way towards the alley. And I remember I walked out that way and I heard someone like stepping with the leaves on the floor. And I looked behind me and I don't see anybody. There's nobody there. There's nothing wrong with my eyes. You know, like I was like, okay, whatever. You don't try to think much of it. But then it starts walking towards me like fast. And that's when I just fucking ran. I'm like, fuck this. Can we curse? Is that okay?
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
absolutely.
okay? I just fucking booked it because you know what? Fuck that. And it was at nighttime. I don't even go out there at night anymore because of that, you know. And yeah, that was just really scary. And that sort of happened with my sister too. She was in her room and you know, we have cats, but my cats weren't in that room. My cats were in this living room and the door was closed and she we have tile and she could hear stepping on the tile. Like it has a very distinct sound, but there was nothing there. There was no person, no cats, nothing. And she didn't think much of it at first, but she heard it getting closer to her. And that's when we just heard her start crying and freaking out and being like, something just like ran up on me. And it kind of scared me because it reminded me of the feeling that I had in that alley, you know? And I don't know if it's something to do with like this building. I don't know if it's I need to really look into it and like research because it doesn't happen all the time. It's not, you know, there'll be times because I think we sort of choose to ignore it. There's times where we just, you know, something will happen in my room and I'll just be like that and I'll just ignore it.
That
I
didn't
don't
happen.
feed any, no, no, you
I
know,
like
like I
that.
don't
That
feed
didn't happen.
any, no, yeah, because I think if you give it more attention, then that's you know, I think it'll make it worse in a way, you know. And there's been weird things like that that sort of happen in this family here and there, and it's just like it's creepy, it's unsettling, you know. So I think that's why I've been a little hesitant into like going into a location and really, you know, that
Okay,
has had a
so
lot of history. So yeah.
two things. You said you haven't done a paranormal investigation. You have one in your fucking house. Just do it in your
That's
house.
true. That's so true.
Like set up the gear, just do it. John's like, don't do it. I
I
know,
did
because
no,
I think once
no.
you've terrified yourself in your home, it's gonna be a lot harder to like stay. Probably best to ignore it. But two, I just want to say when you said that every time I hear someone say I feel like something's watching me, that song gets stuck in my head
I do.
on
I always
replay.
feel like I'm in the twilight zone. Yeah.
I
Yep.
always feel
Feel
like
like
somebody's watching me.
that, you know, it's funny now that I think about it, but when you're in the moment, you don't even think of that shit.
You
You just
don't.
No.
It's
you're
you're
like,
thinking
fuck
about.
that. Like yeah, it's scary.
I've been in
But
some pretty scary situations that I'm like trying to tell myself it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. And if there's someone around who's like, it's okay, and they're trying to calm you down, I'm like, shut the fuck up, it's not working.
yeah,
Let
no.
me be scared.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make me laugh.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
terrified.
it's also different too because I live here. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to
Fair.
feed
Yeah.
into that.
That's
And
how I
Fair.
feel. Yep.
it,
Yeah.
it's scarier when it's especially because I live with my family. You know, I don't want to
Just do one in the alley.
in the alley. Yeah, we live in an apartment complex. I don't think a lot of other people who live in the building would be too particularly happy with that. But you know, it's
You just set up cameras and EVP recorders in the alley and just hang out. Nobody goes in there anyways, according to you.
how.
So
By the way, how much does one of those devices cost? Like an
ask John.
EVP?
I don't do paranormal investigations.
You know, like an EVP recorder, you can get a cheap one for $60 at Walmart. It doesn't
There you
have
go.
to
So
be it doesn't have to be a big expensive one. They do help, obviously, but I don't have an
Yeah.
expensive one. I have a $60 one that I've gotten at Walmart that I
Mm.
bought way back in 2011, and it still freaking works. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's amazing to see like the technology they create to capture evidence and
oh yeah.
stuff like that. It's amazing. Like I still watch Ghost Adventures to this day, and they're always bringing new equipment and all these different things to document stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah, one of the guys that actually makes the equipment for them lives here in Colorado,
Is
which is
it?
pretty cool. So I didn't realize that until like years after watching the show. But yeah, I was like, holy crap, he lives like up in the mountains close to me, kind of. So I was like, that's pretty sweet.
Oh wow, it's not Gary Galka, is it?
No.
Or is it Bill
It's
Chappell?
yeah, Bill Chappell.
Yeah, Bill Chappell. He does a lot of guest
Oh
investigative
yeah,
stuff on Ghost
yeah,
Adventures. Yeah.
he's always on there. But yeah, like Ashley said, I don't recommend doing
Yeah.
in your house. I had a little girl ghost in my apartment when my cousin and stuff lived with me, and I would hear this thing laugh. This girl, this ghost, this spirit, whatever. I would hear her laugh in the middle of the night, and I've told this story. Ashley's heard it before, but like at the time, I was living with my fiance and her kids, and I thought one of the kids were up, messing around in the middle of the night because I'd gotten up to go to the bathroom, and I heard a giggle, and I'm like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What are these kids doing? So I go and I check on them, sound asleep, snoring, everything. I go by to make sure that they're actually sleeping and not faking. I try to make noise and whatever to distract them to see if I can get them to laugh and see if they're faking. No faking. So I close the door and I hear it again, and I'm like, there's no movement in there. So I took off running down the hall into the bedroom and covered my face. That was the first time I heard that, and it wasn't the last. And so, yeah, it was freaky as shit. I don't recommend
How long did
investigating.
how long did you live there for? Like,
2 years,
oh wow.
2 years. And
Be
once my
honest, that's why you dumped her.
probably, yeah, no, she dumped me actually.
I would have ran out the
Because you
house.
couldn't deal with her ghosts.
right, no,
That's like
it,
spooky baggage.
it was yeah, right. It was funny because once my cousin and then moved in, I forgot to tell her all about it because I hadn't heard the girl laugh in a while. And so she had a little boy, my cousin, he was 2 at the time, and they were home alone. And she calls me up at work. She's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what do you mean, what the fuck? She's like, do you know that there's like giggling in this house? I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, that's Molly. That's what I named the ghost. I was like, she likes to laugh and chill. And she's
Don't
like,
name your demons, damn
Oh
it.
my God.
not a demon. It was a little girl
That
ghost. It
you
was
know
awesome.
of. Demons can present as little girls.
She didn't fuck with us. She just laughed. That was it. So,
She just
and every
laughed.
once in a while, you'd see like something down the corner of your eye down the hallway. But yeah, that was it.
Mm, man.
Yeah.
Like shadows and stuff, or
Yeah. Yep. Like shadow movement. And you would see just look right out the corner of your eye. It was great.
yeah. I remember that happening. Like I never had seen like an actual shadow until I remember we used to be friends with this family, my sister when she was like in elementary school. And we went over to their house, and there was this one room that had the weirdest energy. Like the whole rest of the house was fine, but it was this one certain room at the corner of the house that I avoided because I never liked being in there. And I remember it was connected to a hallway and the lights weren't on. And it was really weird. I remember walking to the living room, looking down at the hallway, and his name was Bryden. He was a young kid, and he ran out from that hallway. And right as he ran out, I saw a shadow right behind him just walk. And I froze. I could not believe what I just saw. I was like,
Chills.
and then I just went in the kitchen, and everyone's in there having a good time and talking and stuff. And they look at me and they're like, Alex, are you okay? And I'm like, I just saw, and like it was really hard to tell a family that you don't know if they don't believe in this sort of stuff. It's really hard to say or admit that you saw something like that. And I told them I saw a shadow walk in this hallway, and it shook me up. And they're like, oh, that's so funny you say that, because I think there was a man who lived in this house and he killed himself before we moved in, kind of thing. And I was like, okay. And apparently they had some similar experiences and stuff. And yeah, I'll never forget seeing that. And it's funny because shadows were the one visual evidence are sort of the most shocking and sort of harder to get, I think, in this when you're an investigator and stuff. So when I saw Ghost Adventures like in 2007, I think it was like very long time ago, and that was the one of the first things I saw is when they captured a shadow just walking, and you could see them play it back, and seeing the actual shadow move, and it like I will never forget that
That
till the
trigger
day I
you
die.
that you're like,
Yeah, it
that's
was like
exactly what I saw.
a believer right there. It was like
Believe.
I believe. I understand. I get it now. So yeah,
It's hard to go into somebody else's house too and be like, hey, your house is fucked.
yeah.
Because
I mean,
I don't
I
know if
probably
you
would have
know
said it like
this,
that
but
now too. I'd have been like, "Yo, you get the fuck out of here. Your house is
your
fucked."
house is fucked. But like I usually if I feel awkward or like I feel like there's something else at play in someone's house, I just don't say shit. And you because usually if they're aware of it, because I don't want it to be my fault if they're not aware of it, and then like I bring it into their realm and then they do start to notice things and then they are scared because now they are focused on that. Because I think to an extent, some people are able to buffer that shit out so well that
Yeah.
they never really truly tune in to like what's going on or they write it off, right? Like that's nothing. But like when you make them aware that like almost like that door opens enough where they are susceptible to it more, they perceive it better, and then they're like, oh shit, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the asshole. So I'm just like, I don't say anything. Now, usually if I feel something, I may drop like a crumble of a cracker or something and be like, yeah, I have a haunt. I'm interested in the hauntings of this, or did you know about the haunting of that, or did you know this place is haunted? And if they're like, "Oh my gosh, let me tell you about what's been going on in my house," I'm like, "Okay, so you do know." But if
That's
they're
so
just like,
funny.
"Oh, really?" and they don't say anything about their house, I'm like, "I'm not saying anything about like the creepy feeling I'm getting from the closet in that top corner room."
Yeah.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker. So I just nope. I don't say anything. But I've definitely experienced places where shadows like jump and other people see it. And like you were saying earlier, like when someone else experiences it, it's like, oh shit. It's validating that like, oh, I can't explain that away as something
Yeah.
else because they experienced it too. And they're seeing it exactly as I am. And that I hate that. Some people
Mm.
love that because they're like, cool, you saw it too. I'm not crazy. And me, I'm like, no, you saw it too. God damn it.
It's not like special. It's like, oh, well, you saw it too. I'm like,
No, for
whatever.
me, it's you saw it too. No, because now it must be true.
Mm.
I don't want
I
it
see.
to
So
be.
you want to be proven like wrong that like, you want an explanation that it's like,
Correct. It's not
yeah,
real.
it's
It's
not
not real.
real.
Exactly. So when other people experience it, and then it's like, oh, shit.
That's
Now
so
I have a
interesting.
harder time explaining that it's not.
Yeah. You guys have never investigated together? John, have you never?
Not
Yeah.
with Ashley, not yet. We're getting there.
We're planning
Yeah.
Slowly,
next time
slowly but
I'm in
What?
surely.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what location do you think you're like, I want to do this. Look, I want to investigate this location, or is it just
There's a ton of places I would love to take Ashley, but they're too freaky, and I know that she wouldn't go.
I want to go to
Um,
the Riverdale Road one.
and
The
that's
Riverdale
yeah,
Road
that's
location.
where I think is like the easiest and like introductory type thing. I think that and maybe the Stanley Hotel, but like yeah,
hmm,
Like I've been there. I didn't feel much.
right.
So
So I don't know, maybe a different place, but yeah, definitely.
let's go to Fairmont Cemetery.
Fuck that cemetery.
So I have a friend who was working there last week and sent me a video. They were in the basement underneath the crematorium doing some work. And they sent me a video of it. Fairmont, by the way, is like the biggest, oldest, most haunted cemetery in Colorado, Alex. And I've
oh
had
wow.
experiences there that were very violent and awful. And John has had experiences there. So I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'll never go again. But my friend who was working there last week sent me a video of it. And I'm like, nope. Don't send me that
Mm.
shit. I don't want to be tethered. I don't want to be tied. Just delete it on up.
Yeah. Wow.
He said
No.
it definitely felt really creepy and like unnerving. He said he kept feeling blasts of random cold air on him where he there shouldn't be because he's like a heating and whatever specialists like working on the machines.
Like the HVAC
And
guy.
yeah, and he said there was no reason that it should have been doing that right there, but like he would be randomly, it would just hit him like a big blast of cold air. And he's like, but I'm like, gotta keep working, gotta finish the job. It's nope. I'm gonna keep on working.
Oh, I feel bad for people that gotta work late night in places like that, you know. And there's some videos of people who work in like libraries or, you know, they're just like big public areas, and they just experience like really weird stuff. And, you know, it's like people got to make money, you know, and like it's already stressful enough to do life in general is just stressful enough. So like to have to work and all this other stuff is happening. It's like, man, you know, but you gotta make a living. You know, you gotta make that money.
That's why so many of these like super haunted places just end up abandoning because they're like, fuck this. We can't get anyone to stay working here. We're just
we out.
We out. Let it go. Let it go by the wayside.
Right. But Fairmount Cemetery actually is like a gorgeous cemetery. It's beautiful during the day. It's still kind of creepy during the day, but it's beautiful. But
huge and expansive and beautiful and terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow! How's the like my soul. You said the Stanley Hotel. Did you stay there, or was it just like?
I've stayed a few times. I've had experiences. Nothing major, but you know, bed shaking. I felt cold spots, and I haven't really seen anything. But I've seen the like a door close and open while we were down in the music hall, which is a separate building. But yeah, so it was cool.
Are you a big fan of The Shining? Is that why you felt like you?
I mean, growing up and living here in Colorado and knowing that Stephen King was actually there to write it way back when, you know, I have to check it out, of course. And being, you know, into the ghost and stuff, of course, I'm going to go check that stuff out. So,
yeah. I mean, the Stanley is iconic. Like,
oh, yeah. Absolutely. I would love,
It's so iconic. I've been there, but I did like a little tour there and I didn't feel much, but I also didn't stay the night there. So, to me, I also think sometimes like it's so touristy, it's hard to get past the clutter of all of that touristy energy. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have a friend that used to work there and she did the ghost tours and stuff, which is
Callie.
Pretty funny. Yeah. Callie. She's on our podcast a few times and I met her the first or second time we had stayed up there. We decided to do the ghost tour or whatever, just kind of learning about the spirits and everything. I had seen her on TV because she had been on Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures even, and so it was kind of cool. I'm like, oh hey, you know, I recognize you from TV, but and then we just got to talking, and you know, I was super interested. It was right when I was beginning to get into it, and so I had all kinds of questions for her. Of course, her being our tour guide, I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And she was just the nicest freaking person in the world, just answering every question. And she's like, you know, find me on Facebook. We'll talk some more and blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck yeah, this person rocks. So
yeah. Oh, I love people like that. That's so nice.
Oh yeah, she's come on our podcast and talked about like her experiences being a tour guide there and paranormal experiences and dream interpretation. And she's like super just awesome.
Oh yeah, I gotta check those out. Yeah. How many locations have you investigated? Like
myself, not counting like parks and stuff around here. Let's see. Stanley Hotel, the Jerome Grand Hotel in Arizona. I've done that 3 times.
Oh wow.
That's one of my favorite places to go. I've done Waverly Hills in Kentucky and a couple places up here in the mountains. I think it was the Hiwan Homestead. It's like a museum type thing. That was pretty cool. And then there was a couple places again up in the mountains here. The Melting Pot, yeah. The Melting Pot was a restaurant, or is a restaurant that we have here. It's basically fondue, but before
sounds good.
It was a restaurant. Yeah, it was a jail and it was a library, and they had all kinds of like flooding and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
So yeah, we've done that a bunch of times.
What an interesting history for the building, like you know, like to be a jail and then turn into a restaurant. Like wow.
Yeah. It was like a library back in the 1800s and a jail, and then like they turned it into a restaurant. And so yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'd say probably about 6 or 7 buildings, some more
I
than
think the
once.
parks
Wow.
totally count though, John, because you're
You
going
think?
to some of the most haunted parks in the area. Like,
True.
I wouldn't discredit the land just because there's not like a building on it. Because like
Right.
you investigated Cheeseman Park, and that's like it's like one of the number one haunted spots in Denver for
Well,
park.
yeah.
So,
Since it used to be a cemetery and some of the
mhm,
bodies are still underneath the park, they didn't dig them all
exactly.
up.
Oh,
See, so the
So,
wow.
parks count.
all right, the parks count. So, like 12.
I think I would be more scared doing like sort of a cemetery or a park like that because there's just much more to, that's you're sort of hearing and I think it's a little more eerie than a building. But again, to each their own, everybody has their own different experience in which different location they get scared in the most. But I think I'd be more scared. And I don't know how people go in like forests, and
Yeah.
investigate like a forest. Like I'm good. No,
We actually have a
I'm okay.
haunted forest up here that I kind of want to
Black
check out.
Forest.
I think this Black Forest. There's also one closer too, so I can't remember what one it is. But yeah, um, yeah, I would love to. But doing the outside ones, there's more room to run in case.
It's
Yeah,
true.
but you know what? I think that's like it's like a double-edged sword because like in a house or like a building, you can put your back to a wall and you almost feel safer.
Right.
But like out in the like open, you're exposed, you feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
There's like more points of like hypothetical attack. Not that ghosts can't like attack you through walls if they're real, but still like
Yeah.
it's just a bigger feeling of being exposed and vulnerable. And I almost feel like we kind of placate ourselves in a house because it's like, well, if I get out of the house, like if I get too scared, I can leave the house. Like those physical boundaries are somehow going to like transcend into, translate into the metaphysical world. And outdoors, it's like, where the fuck am I gonna run? It's all open. It's all like it's a freak. If it's haunted here, it's haunted 5 miles over. But
Yeah,
and
no,
a
that's
forest is a hell no for me.
oh no. Yeah. Like I hear I know this might be a little cliche, but the suicide forest in Japan, like
I would like
that
to go.
that scares the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. So like I can't imagine what you can find out there. And there's other like I think in Europe too, like pretty sure Ghost Adventures have a lot of paranormal investigators have gone, but like they'll go to forests that just have endless land, and it's so easy to like get lost and you have no idea what's out there, and they would catch like these red lights and stuff. And it's just like, whoa, like there's just this whole other thing that's
Yeah.
you can find in what's going on than more than just like shadows and stuff. So
Right.
that's really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and even with the forest, I mean, you have other things besides spirits and paranormal. You have like the animals, you have all kinds, there's all kinds of shit in there. You can die either way. Like it doesn't
You
matter.
Yeah,
could die
no,
either way.
that's scary. There's an episode of Ghost Adventures that I'll never forget either. When I think it was in Ireland, there there was there's like a known myth of a banshee that is in the forest, and they were just driving by, and Aaron had had a really like scary experience, and he felt like he was touched by the devil. He felt a really sharp like nail touch his ear, and he was talking about it, and he said something like, "Oh yeah, that's I guess that's just the way of life," kind of thing. And they heard a voice from the woods go, "Is it?" Like it was this is scare. I was like, I will never forget hearing that, and you just see their reaction, like, no way, like like it's just so frightening.
The way
And
you
I'm like,
said that though reminded me of Jack Black for some reason.
is
Is it? Oh man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
creepy as shit.
Oh yeah, no, like down. That's why forests and all that stuff. I'm good. Any woodwork I see, I'm like, later, dude.
Woodwork.
Nah, not today, dude. So,
You got enough wood for everybody. But I had to slip one in. That's what he said. I'm on one tonight.
Yeah, you
Mm.
are.
I had to. Alex is used to me, okay? I mean, we've only actually been around each other a few times, but he's used to me.
Mhm.
I, of course, gravitate to the more like gentle, silent ones because Lord knows I talk enough for fucking everybody.
I feel like I talk a lot too sometimes though. I mean, it just depends on, if you're comfortable with somebody, So like
True.
I see myself as someone who's quiet and shy, and I think I'm sort of like not careful, but like I sort of be wary of who I show, like really who I am, and I think that's with a lot of shy people. But there's a whole life to a person, that most
Oh
people
yeah.
don't know about. So it's just a matter of if you're comfortable. So,
Do you have any more paranormal you wanna?
oh, hmm.
Any last thing like things you wanna share?
Oh, wow. I know there's a few that I'm missing, but my brain blank space. Like, um, I know my brother has had his own experiences. He's told me a few. I remember he was staying at a hotel with his business partner, Chris, and, I don't think from what I know, Chris isn't really that much of a believer and stuff. But weird things would happen. It was this hotel. I'm so sorry, I don't remember the name of it, but it's known to be sort of haunted. I don't think they knew that they were staying there, but they found out really quick because that night weird stuff started happening. Like stuff that they put down on the table ended up either on the other side of the room or was just misplaced. And my brother he thought he was going crazy. He's like, Chris, you had to have touched this. There's no way that, and Chris was like, dude, I swear I didn't.
Wasn't
Yeah. And then he even like caught a photo of like a light. My brother said, did you see that light? Like just a random like flash of light that had happened. Chris didn't
Where
see
was
it,
it?
but the hotel,
Like what
man,
town? Do you remember what town?
I don't, but
We'll have to ask
I
Chris and
yeah,
Mary.
yeah, we'll have to ask them. And my brother said that on his side of the room, he would just wake up and he felt like there was just people talking there or like just people there. And that's like scary. Like it's pitch black and you're looking out into nothing, but you either feel something there or you're hearing something there. And like when he told me that whole story, and it would happen throughout all the nights, and there was people that were part of the show that were like, I'm not staying at this hotel. I'm going to it. Like they just left. They couldn't deal with it. So it's just like, yeah,
That's
stuff like that
crazy.
is, yeah, I mean, there's been a few other things, but those were like the main really scary things that had happened to me. I mean, I've had like paper fly off like a cabinet and I would just have to ignore it because I'm like, I'm I'm not gonna,
I'm not
that
dealing with
didn't,
this.
so, but thankfully
Oh.
nothing recently has happened, like that. So,
So during our last conversation we had, John, with I don't remember who we were talking to, but we were talking about like the friendship test. It was Ming, I think. The
It was
friendship
Ming.
test
Yeah.
was the Lost Boys.
Yes.
yes.
And Alex messaged me. So does this mean I have to watch the Lost Boys? And I'm like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
you've never, yes, you
That
have to
was,
watch the
yeah.
Lost Boys. Yes, absolutely, you have to watch the
That's
Lost
the
Boys.
worst text that you could ever send Ashley.
I know. I'm like, what the hell did you just
I
say to me?
I felt so bad even texting it because he was just saying it was blasphemous. It was
Yeah.
like, what? How dare you not watch this movie?
Yeah. See, you knew you
It's
were
like,
wrong while you were texting.
yeah, I'm like, it's like it was like, you just like, I guess I have to admit this,
Yeah. Like, why would you
But
even
no,
say that to me? Of course, you have to watch the Lost Boys.
I mean, I've seen like bits and pieces, and I just rewatched it like literally today before the podcast because I wanted to make sure that I watched this movie before I came on this podcast. I wanted to be worthy. So,
Wanted to be worthy.
and I recognized things that I had seen, but I had never watched the movie all the way through. And
Right.
it was I really enjoyed it. The whole reveal of the vampire was really well done, and it's just scary seeing people fly up into the air, like it's just like, oh, but yeah, it was a lot of fun too. I enjoyed it, and I love the whole like tough guy voice that Corey Feldman puts on as like a kid. It's just so funny to hear that. It's like, I know what you sound like. That's
I know what you
totally
sound like in real life.
a tough guy voice. But no, I love the reveal of you actually get to see their faces, like them revealing to Jason Patrick's character that they're vampires. Like that was really well done. Even like the lighting, and I was even like, whoa, like that's really creepy kind of thing. So I love that part. So that's your favorite movie of all time, Ashley?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, no,
So you better get on board with loving that, like number one.
Oh yeah, well, they're showing it in theaters, and I told Ashley when I was speaking to her earlier, like seeing a movie in theaters is just a completely different experience. Like,
Mhm.
so I need to go check it out because Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's one of my favorite movies. And, I'll never forget as a young kid, like the whole, like when the ark opens, talk about like horror, like seeing people's faces melt and exploding. Like that was so awesome just seeing that as a kid. But it's so different from watching it on your TV screen and then going in the theater and watching it as sort of like a group,
Yeah.
a whole group of people loving this movie. And I did that recently. I went to like a screening at the Academy, and it was one of my favorite experiences. And I finally got to see it on the big screen. And you see stuff that you didn't see before, and it's just this whole otherworldly experience, I think, for a movie. So yeah, I need to check it out in theaters. So
I actually went to see The Lost Boys in Santa Cruz on the beach last year during Halloween.
oh, that's cool.
And that, like, you talk about being with people who love it. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
did the inflatable projector screen on the beach. They had big speakers set up. Like, it was a full thing going on, and it's right on the pier that's in the movie. And it was just phenomenal experience, and just being around everybody else who also equally loves this movie. And like the last scene with grandpa, one thing I could never stomach
Oh
about
yeah.
everybody, every fucking person on that beach was like, all the damn vampires. Woo! And everybody's cheering. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these are my people.
That's also, I think, a perfect ending. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
just perfectly caps everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Talking about things you love in that movie, it's perfect.
I
I wouldn't
love that it's
change
a
it.
quotable movie, like
Yeah.
totally quotable movie, like so many one-liners in there that just you use
Hmm.
even now. Like I meet people and I'm just, we talked about this before. I meet Michaels and I'm like, maggots, Michael, you're eating maggots. How did they taste? And they're like, what the fuck did this girl just say to me? And I'm like, never mind.
You
Yeah.
don't
Just
know.
never mind.
You're
We
not my
can't.
people.
I think you even mentioned that in Sacramento when
Yeah,
we were eating.
I probably did when
Yeah.
we were eating.
Yeah.
That
Sounds like
sounds like
Mikey.
Ashley.
Yeah. Movies from that time, there's just, I don't know if I feel like an old man, but I feel like movies now, like there's very few of those types of movies now. Like I rarely think of or even remember a lot of the movies that I watch now that are on sort of the same level of storytelling and effectiveness as like movies like that. So that's also another thing I really enjoyed, is simplicity in storytelling. And even though I knew like I told you about the twist with the guy who owned the video store, just like the acting that he did and the reveal of that, I think was really well done and effective. And I enjoy a lot more movies like that. It's hard to tell a story, but I feel like a lot of the movies from that time just do such a good job of it because I think it's not about making the money. It's about really telling such a effective story and having a little fun with it instead of just focusing on dollars. And
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of movies now sort of falter. Well, what about you, John? What's your favorite scene in that movie?
There's a lot. I mean, come on, there is a lot. The
He's
Death by
never watched
Stereo.
it.
Oh, shut the hell up! I've never watched it. Let me see here. Hold
Oh,
on.
shut the hell up.
let me pull. I got proof.
The 4K. I showed you this last time. No, Death by Stereo is definitely one of my favorites, and also one of my favorite lines because you can't say shit like that anymore because nobody cares around stereos like that. Come on,
Oh yeah,
gotta
it's
love the
true.
80s.
What is it gonna be
Death
now?
by Bluetooth.
Yeah, like
Right? It's not
death
the
by
same.
death by Spotify. Like it just
Death
doesn't
by
make
Spotify.
it just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I mean, I
Um.
can see myself probably laughing at something like that. That's like that paranormal games where people listen to that death song and
Oh
something bad
yeah.
happens. Death by Spotify.
There you
Listen to
go.
this haunted song.
Oh geez. But I do agree with you though, seeing movies that you haven't seen in the theater on the big screen is absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
Um, not that this was horror, but I grew up watching Grease on TV, and then when they released it on theaters, I was like, "Holy shit!" There's a whole bunch more that I haven't seen because that was before the whole widescreen stuff and everything
Mhm.
else. So it was all just like was like, I never knew any of this existed. This is so cool. There's like half a movie over here that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
That's like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Watching
Yes.
it
Oh
on
my
TV
God.
is not quite the same as going into
No.
a theater. I just big
Oh my
and
God.
like yeah.
I love it. I've done that a few times. Like the theaters have shown it, like just shown it. And then I've gone with Kevin to an
The
actual,
Shadowcast.
oh my God, that was fucking phenomenal. That was a blast.
I
Lila went with
love
us
doing
too.
the time warp with people in the
Oh
aisle.
my God, it's so great. I love it. Love the Rocky Horror Picture
So
Show.
great.
Oh yeah, Tim Curry is king. I mean,
Yes,
he's
always will
just.
be.
I think that movie too is just so ahead of its time. You know,
Mhm.
it's just like, man, it just seems like a movie from the future that was made back then. You know, like and my brother, I credit my brother because he was the one, that sort of introduced all of these movies to me. He's the only reason I even know most of the movies that I've seen. And, he was in a way in our family sort of, well, my mom too, she loved movies, but in terms of like siblings, he was sort of the pioneer of introducing movies to us, and proudly was of it, so like being a boy of his age, loving Rocky Horror Picture Show and all these other things, like I think a lot of people would look sort of weird, and people would be like, that's kind of weird, but there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. And even though part of me felt sort of ashamed as like a kid that, that might not have been cool for other kids to have liked that, but he so proudly did that. He's the reason that I even like know of all that. And like now I'm like, oh,
Now you're
how
a
do you
freak
do
like the rest of
like
us,
this,
right?
like why do I care, and God, that movie is so good, and the music is just it's so catchy. And
Yes.
I still listen to, yeah, I still listen to this day. I mean,
Yes.
gosh, Sweet Transvestite, just, oh man,
That's a
such a
banger
good
right
song.
there, man. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
so I'm so glad you mentioned
You
that.
said that's the banger right there.
I'm telling
That's a
you, dude. I
banger.
will blast that driving down the street. I care not. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
give a shit. I love that song.
yeah.
Yeah, I was actually introduced to the Rocky Horror Picture Show back in the 90s. I had a coworker that was absolutely obsessed with it, and she was shocked that I had never heard of it or seen it.
Mm.
So back when VHS was a thing, she let me borrow her VHS, and I was like, "The fuck am I getting into?" At first, because it's weird, and I'm like, okay, but I like weird. Weird's good. And upon first watching, I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm.
I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I like it, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch it again. And, and then just from that point on, just boom.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
all the weird stuff. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Repo, the genetic opera.
That's
Love
on my
it.
list. I still need to
Oh,
see that.
Fucking
yeah,
love
it's
it.
on my
It's
list.
yeah, it's a rock opera and it's
Yeah.
horror and it's like I absolutely love that. Good catchy songs. Like I have it on my phone. My kids sing along. It's just like it's great. It's awful and great. So yeah, like Terrence, I don't know how to say his last name. Zunick? Zadunik. Dunik.
That guy.
That guy.
Terrence. Terrence Z. He and his co-producer did an amazing job. And Terrence actually plays the grave robber. And like grave robber, number one cosplayed character from that film. Like anytime I
Really?
see someone at a horror show walking around as them, I'm like, I start singing the song that goes along with the grave robber, and they're just like, you know it. And I'm like, yeah, damn right, I know it.
That's cool. I have to check it out. I have a whole list of movies I need to, especially right now, like a whole list of horror movies and stuff that I need to see that I haven't seen.
This spooky
There's just
season.
there's too many movies. Like
I
as much
know.
as I've seen, I've missed, like even Lost Boys. I'm like, I've missed out. Like it's too hard to keep up. There's just always stuff to watch, and not enough time. So
Just be sure to keep Lost Boys 2 and 3 off your list. You don't need to watch those.
there's sequels that, it's fun. I was like,
Save
did they
yourself.
ever really?
Save
Oh
yourself.
man, I didn't know they actually made sequels of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's good that I never heard that they did.
Straight to video, straight to DVD, straight to suck.
Any-
So
Straight to
I pun intended. I had to watch them because just being a Lost Boys fanatic, I
Yeah.
had to. And I will say that after watching both of them, I was just like, nope.
Was any
And
of the original cast even
Corey
included?
Feldman.
Yeah.
Just Corey? Interesting. Okay.
Corey Feldman was in it. Was Corey Haim in part two?
I think
I
he
think
ended
Haim
up
was
in
in
one of
part
them.
two.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman was in two and three, and Jameson Newlander had like a small cameo thing at the end of part three, I believe. But
Mm,
just save yourself.
They don't
yeah.
exist.
And that's not me being like a diehard Lost Boys fan. Like there are some people that are like, no, I will hate anything no matter what because it's not the original. I am not that person. If
Mm.
they had done a great job, I would have been like, cool. But this was not it. And it was so not it.
Mm. Were
Like
those released in the 90s, like all of those? Or was
Oh,
it?
there was like 2000s.
2000s.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they both, part two was basically the exact same as part one. They just did gender swaps. So it was like a girl instead of a boy is the brother that's getting involved with the vampires. And it wasn't. And they tried really hard to kind of play on that nostalgia in every way. So like the lead vampire was actually Kiefer Sutherland's half brother in like real
Oh,
life.
okay.
He's played by him, so you see like the resemblance a little, but they didn't say the characters were related in any way. So it was
That's
just like them trying to, it was just no.
that's so weird. Well, maybe if we watch it in the theater, it'll be
Oh.
it'll be a
I,
better experience.
I don't think the theater can save that.
Yeah,
And
I
like I
know. I
said,
don't think so
it's not
either.
like I hate that it's a derivative of the original because like for example, I love From Dusk Till Dawn so fucking much,
Mhm.
but I also like 2 and 3 because I think they're fun in their own ways. 2 is cheesy as hell and campy, but I love it. I think it's its own thing. But with these it's like no, I just can't. I can't stomach it. All these damn vampires.
Man,
Yes. Mm-mm-mm.
I'm looking at this list. I
Oh,
mean,
you got a list.
yeah,
I love when they come
I
with lists.
I recently I know they remade Hellraiser. I actually didn't
I haven't
uh
watched it yet.
I
yeah.
haven't watched it yet either.
Did you
The
see
remake.
you guys see the original?
Yeah. Of course, Ashley. Yeah, Ashley definitely has. Seen the original.
It's like he doesn't even know me.
I know. It hurts
It's
my heart. I'm just
yeah,
joking.
it's I actually enjoyed the new one that they came out with. So yeah, you guys should definitely check it out if you really like the original.
I've
But
been so swamped. I really want to watch it because the trailer I thought looked fucking phenomenal. I just need to
Yeah.
catch
yeah,
up and
yeah.
watch everything I'm behind on. I haven't even seen Halloween Ends yet.
One of my best friends treated me to, I had never been there, but Alamo Draft House.
I love
And
Alamo Drafthouse.
Yep.
it's like one of my new favorite theaters.
Yeah.
And we saw Triangle of Sadness, and it was actually really good.
That looks pretty
The
good.
Yeah, it was so funny, but the ending was awful. But it's definitely like a movie that you need to watch, and once you see it, you'll know why the ending's awful. But I think it's one of my favorite movies of the year. But I don't know if you guys have seen Pearl. I really
Yes.
enjoyed Pearl.
That was good.
That was good. I thought it was a lot better than X, even though I did enjoy X too. I saw this really good one called Terrified, and its Spanish translation is Aterrados, and
Oh, look, he rolled his tongue and everything.
it freaked me out. Like it was scary. It's sort of like paranormal. It's also like I just recommend it highly. It's on Shudder.
Everybody's talking about Terrifier 2 at the theaters.
Is it true people are passing out?
I don't know. I have a meme someone sent me about that. It's like
Yeah.
this picture of this guy, and it says, people are passing out at Terrifier 2. And then the meme says, smells like bitches in here.
You know what? Yeah, probably. Probably.
I was laughing pretty hard. I'm like, that's probably accurate.
Yeah.
I don't think
No,
I've seen anything that fucking scary or gross that would make me do pass out in the theater.
no. I'm definitely desensitized too. So like, there's man, I've just
I'll just close
seen way
my
too
eyes if
much.
it makes me that squeamish. Like it takes a lot, but there are certain things viscerally that like I can't really tolerate watching. Like if I were forced to, I'd watch it. It wouldn't throw up or pass out. But if I have a choice, I'm gonna look away because no thanks.
What's that one thing? Just out of
I'm not
Like
telling
what?
you.
Oh, okay.
I'm not giving my torture secrets out there.
A torture secret. I'm looking like I'm gonna use it against you.
So it's anything like with scissors, like if someone's like cutting skin off of somebody, like pulling
Oh yeah,
and
that's
cutting that.
My
See,
my
my
thing
stomach is
yeah.
like, oh, even
My
like thinking about it is pretty gross. But stuff like
yeah.
that, or
my
like
thing
the
is like
tongue, any cutting thing is like,
cutting the heel. Yeah.
because that doesn't bug me as much. I don't know why.
Really? You can watch somebody cut the heel. What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm fucked up.
Cut my tongue out. Ugh. Cut the heel. I'm okay.
Yeah. You could stitch up the heel. What are you going to do with the tongue?
Not if
Like,
you
it's
bleed
gone.
out first.
I just watched something where they show someone cut their tongue out. I was just like, oh my
Oh,
God.
see, nope.
I'm trying to remember what it was.
That kind of
Man.
stuff gets to me.
There's a few of them that do that. I can't remember. I think I watched something recently too that did that. I don't remember.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff
awful.
that gets to me.
It might have been Hellraiser.
Oh shit. See, they knew.
Yeah.
They knew I was gonna watch it and they put that into torture me.
Yep.
I think it was. Yeah. Oh man.
They're like, this crazy bitch. She's coming. We gotta make sure we give her a show.
Oh yeah. There's also classics like I love American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
I love.
I'm the only one that loves American Werewolf in Paris. That
I
movie
liked
did
it, too.
not age
Is that a
well, but
sequel?
I enjoyed it.
I haven't.
It's
There's
more
a
of like a
sequel.
reboot, more so.
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the late 90s, 98, 97. I
I
think
wouldn't even call it a
99
sequel
even.
because they weren't actually connected. I think it was
No.
just more of like a reboot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was good-ish back then. It, like Ashley said, it did not.
Didn't age well.
Didn't
It's still
age well.
fun, but if you didn't watch it when it came out, no, it's just no, because it did not age well.
Yeah, you miss out. Yeah.
Although there is something sexy about them like transforming in the Club de la Lune. Like, oh, all right, I'll fucks with you, werewolves. See,
it's also very when someone asks you like what's your favorite, it's so hard to just pick
what's
one.
your favorite scary movie?
What's your favorite scary
Scream.
movie?
Showgirls.
Is that your favorite?
Definitely Showgirls.
Yeah. Scream is, yeah. I love all the Scream movies.
Mm.
Love them all.
What did you think of the new one with Jack Quaid and
He loved it.
I fucking loved it. I watched it like 5 times in theaters. I loved it.
Yeah.
As soon as it was available for digital, I bought that bitch. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. Did you guys see Smile? Did you watch that movie?
Ashley hasn't, but I have. I fucking love it. She needs to watch it.
Oh man, I loved it. I was creeped out. You got to go see it in the theater while it's there because, like we said,
Better in the theater.
Better in the theater, dude. Yeah, it's a good one. You know what was really disturbing was the Jeffrey Dahmer series. That was really hard to watch. Did you guys watch that series?
No, I'm not into serial killers. I'm not curious about seeing how it unfolded or what he did or his case.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just let the bastard give no energy to him and just let him disappear.
I just saw a billboard in Hollywood that says Dahmer, #1 show in America right now. I'm like, are you really proud of like admitting that sort of thing? It's just like it felt like really weird, because there's a whole lot of ugliness I think attached and unnecessary attention that we throw at him that it just doesn't make sense to me, and then there's also the people that romanticize that stuff and
yet you watched it.
It's true. I didn't
Curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity. But yeah, it was sad.
I haven't finished it, but yeah, I just I know it's supposed to be dramatic, but holy shit, it's too dramatic for me. I'm like, I can't handle that much. It's like, get with some scary shit or freaking make me laugh or something. I just can't handle all this drama.
Yeah. No, that's all Ryan Murphy.
I
drama,
know. Yeah.
Drama stuff,
Well, Evan Peters isn't going to do much more of these kind of roles anymore anyways. He said that it's taken a toll on him
I can imagine.
To play these consistent dark characters. And he's like, it just puts him in a place that makes him feel like he's just sick all the time. And so he's like, I'm moving away from these roles. And so I don't think he's going to be doing American Horror Story anymore. And I think a lot of these roles he's being like cast into kind of similar vibes. he's just done with. And I can see why. Like, if that's not naturally your disposition to be kind of dark, like that is a lot. So good on him for being like, you know what? I need to stop. This is too much.
Right.
So.
I think it'd be fun to play a scary or like a darker character. I think it would be fun.
Yeah, but that's all he plays.
No, I know. I mean,
he was entire career.
He was Quicksilver in X-Men, but yeah,
that's it. Like, I know. What else?
There was really not much else. No, I know, but I myself personally, I think it would be fun to play a darker character, to play like a villain type person. So I don't know.
Oh, those are the most fun. Definitely, yeah.
Oh yeah,
because you're dark motherfuckers.
Yeah, but you love us
always, because I'm a dark motherfucker. All right, my friends, this has been an awesome episode, and I could keep talking to you all night. But
yeah, I agree. No, thank you guys for having me. I mean,
I would love to have you on again.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Yeah, definitely. I'm totally down for that. Whenever you want a guest that's a goofball, I'm available.
A goofball that does goofy.
Gosh, yeah. That's like a whole thing in our family. We always just go gosh, or
I love it.
Yeah, no, we love it.
You did that so well.
It's just a part of me. I don't even think I really do it that well. I just enjoy doing. It was like, it's so fun to do. Like, who doesn't love that? So yeah, but no, thank you guys again. And it was lovely meeting you, John.
Yes, great to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
All right, John Thomas, bring us home.
All right. Thank you again, Alex, for coming on. It's been fantastic talking paranormal and spooky fucking movies with you. And thank you to everybody for listening to this episode of 3Haunted Podcast with your host. I'm John Thomas.
I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
And if you have any episode suggestions, questions, or comments, please feel free to email us at 3hauntedpodcast@gmail.com. I forgot where it was. And if you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media. And also check out 3hauntedpodcast.com. Our new website is up, ready, and looking fucking fantastic. Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
I think that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Until next time.